probably make more sense for one of the instructors at.
Okay, so how do you want to start? General, or you want to go with the student?
Let's start general first because it kind of helps me get my bearings
Okay,
and kind of get my head into it.
and then
And let me, sorry,
and then we'll talk with the students, right?
exactly.
Okay.
And certainly they can chime in on stuff. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. And let me start, just one more, sorry, I'm multitasking because I'm trying to see if I can record this call, but I don't know if I can do it while I'm on the phone. So it may just be I have to take really good notes. Let's see. Okay, just to give you guys a heads up, I think I'm recording the call, so
So, kids?
that'll let me focus a little bit more on the conversation instead of typing.
Okay.
But I still will be taking notes. So some of the general background stuff is just how you guys got started on doing this.
We had a science club that I was a sponsor of, and it was kind of a general science club. It was kind of a makers club. If you wanted to do something that involved with building things, this was kind of like a building space. So if you wanted to make a sailboat, make a sailboat. I have one student here that's trying to cut a keyboard in half to make a portable keyboard. I have another student here who's making what's called a light cube. It's a bunch of little lights that she can control how they light up, kind of like a Christmas tree display in a way. I had another student last year who was trying to get a type of kayak built. A lot of times they work really well. A lot of times they're always works in progress when you never finish. But it was just an opportunity for kids to get together and build these things. One of the things they really wanted to do was robotics and programming of microprocessors. So that's what we did a lot of. And then Tammy Johnson, the person who's in charge of our grant, last year was looking for a robot sponsor, robot team sponsor. And it's kind of what we were doing anyway. And so I stepped in and said, well, it's kind of what we're doing. We can pick up with that because we need more funding. And if this will get us more funding, it'll be right down our alley in terms of robots. And then I
Okay, how did it, go ahead.
I ran into someone who was actually involved in robot competitions, and I asked the kids if they want to give it a shot, and they said, why not? So that's how we're here.
Wow.
So did this just start this school year?
Last year was our first year.
And I want to say, I think I saw an email from somebody from ISBE or something. You guys won a competition or did a regional competition last year, didn't you?
Yeah, we won Rookie of the Year. Yeah, we were in the Sun Times. That's right.
Cool. And so how many times a day do you guys, or times a week or month or whatever do you guys meet?
We meet every day for about 3 hours, if not 4. We have Saturday competitions every third Saturday, and we meet between, I'm a tennis coach, so as soon as my tennis season ends in usually like October 22nd, the next day we start robotics, and we pretty much end usually in February when our competitions end. And what's that, Jake, you had to say? What about hours?
It was 20 hour, or 20 days a month.
So about 40
of
hours.
meeting and practicing and all that?
Yeah, Jake is a guy with numbers, and he's trying to calculate the hours a month.
And Jake,
Last year,
Jake, are you a
stayed
student
from-
or are you a
Jake, you a
instructor?
student?
What?
You a student?
Yeah,
Yes. What year?
junior.
Junior. Yeah, he's the I think he's godfather to the club actually, because he's the one that kind of really wanted to have what's called a Makers Club. So he's the one that really pushed for that. So if you ask who's responsible for getting the ball rolling, I'd have to say it was Jake.
Is that right, Jake?
Sure.
Sure.
And so you said you guys practice 3 to 4 hours a day?
Yeah. Yeah, there's several kids that are really involved that are on the chess team, and they don't finish till 5:30, so they usually come here for an hour or two after that. Well, the other kids who are here to begin with at 3:30, they stay along with those kids. So I remember a couple weeks ago, the kids, on Wednesdays, we started at 1:30 and they stayed to about 6. And when Jacob got done, different Jacob, when he got done programming, he kind of looked at me with this blank stare. And I was like, whoa, that was a long practice. And he says, yeah, I know. So,
I
Laura,
can
you know
imagine
what?
that. So for the students in the room, what made you guys decide to get involved?
Real fast, Laura, I want to say one thing. If you count how many hours they're here, that shows you how much time Matt, our instructor, is volunteering out of his time. Because the grant only pays for so much of his time, he's volunteering his time to come here and meet with these kids, with the students. And he also sometimes brings them snacks, because we don't have any snacks here at the school. So he comes out of his pocket and spends a lot of his own personal time in order to put this together. So I just want to give my hats off to Matt, because if it wasn't for Matt being a part of this program, I don't think the students would have gone as far as they went.
Yeah, it sounds like a really big, you put a really big time commitment, because
Yes.
I know that's because y'all have your other 21st CCLFC activities
Right.
and things like that. So thankful. And yeah, I would agree. Hats off to you guys.
yeah,
So
we,
he gives up his evenings and his weekends doing this.
we throw a lot of time at it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But that's why I think we do well. I know last year, and I feel sorry for them, I think the kids had some burnout about how much time we put in.
I definitely did.
Yeah,
at the end.
Jake, the godfather here, he says he definitely had burnout, because it's very, very, very intense when you're trying to get this robot programmed and you don't know what you're doing. You're exploring how to get it done, and it's exhausting work. I know every day over break, my wife's really mad at me because I spent every waking moment trying to figure out how to program the robot so I could teach the kids how to program the robot. And to tell you the truth, I didn't get anywhere. So it's not like I brought something back after 2 weeks vacation saying, oh, here, look, I learned how to exploit this, or I learned how to exploit that. It went nowhere, and we have the same programs that we did before break. So it is frustrating, it is exhausting, but like one of my freshman players said the other day, and I quoted this earlier, he said he's never had so much fun doing something and met so many people he likes being with. So it's really, that's what it's about. I mean, I'm having fun, so.
And so, had you coached robotics before or anything like that, or was it just a natural extension of the Maker Lab?
Just a natural extension of the Maker Lab, because we were building robots and programming robots, and we were just doing it for the challenge, which was a lot of fun by itself. And that's why I think there's so much stress with the competitions. Originally, it wasn't about stress, it was just about learning. Now we have the stress of the competitions and the pressure to do well that we impose on ourselves. But when you see the competitions, everyone's stressing. I mean, kids land up crying at these competitions because the robots didn't do as well. I think my team's laughing right now because they made the team cry last time. So.
Two people were sad.
Your own team or another team?
Another team, we beat the other team, and they were so disappointed with themselves they were crying. And our kids, I think, were kind of proud of themselves that they actually took the best team and beat them. So.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So most of you kids who are there listening, were you guys all involved in the makerspace and things like that? Like, did you kind of been working on this stuff, or was it new for you?
How many of you were like Makerspace, the Makers Club, without considering robotics? I know Tia. Who else? Jake.
This year, I guess.
Who else?
It was Travion.
Yeah, Tavion isn't here.
Rigo.
A couple of
Except
kids
for Science
graduated. Who else?
Which is
Well, you're here for
Science
Makers Club
Olympiad.
because you're here for making the robotic hand and using Raspberry Pi. Jake is now here for again making his own cut in half.
This
So
year Makers Club, last year robotics.
years before Makers Club. Yeah, I'd have to say, right now, out of the how many people are 3, 6, 9, 12? The 12 students that are in the classroom, I think there's probably about 4 that are now Makers Club, and the others are pretty much here just for the robotics.
So the other 8 are just for robotics?
Yeah, and And there's another 5 that are.
There's about another 5 or 6 that are in it.
And they're purely robotics. So it evolved into a heavily robotics team, and part of my stress is still trying to meet the needs of the people who are on the Makers Club. And they get shunned, and I apologize every day for that. I know my young lady here, Tia, is trying to build that, like, once again, that light cube as it's called. And I have to get her some PCB boards, some boards that she can put these things on. And Jake has been building a plastic cutting device to help him cut the frame of the piano in half. And I'm supposed to bring in a car battery for him, and it's not like it's the easiest thing to get a hold of on a moment's notice. So,
So lots of learning going on that. And how did you guys learn about robotics then? I mean, it sounds like you were kind of, playing with it some in your maker space, but like, is there a curriculum for this? Do you just search the internet?
it's
Internet and experimentation.
it's pure experimentation. The First Tech Challenge, that's the name of the competition we're involved with. We are limited to the type of software we can use, so that kind of directs us to what we're doing. There's a lot of help online, and I kind of rely heavily on that. It's not that difficult. I think the kids that started programming this year, they were able to program without anybody's help. Bobby, how long did it take you to learn how to program this? An hour before you were able to?
I would say like a whole day.
A whole day?
If anything.
It took you a day of practice before you kind of learned the system, and from then, it just every day you learn a little bit more how to exploit things. And that's where it comes in. I'm trying to learn more myself so I can teach them.
Were driving the robot not in unison with each other. One was moving one way, one was trying to do another in unison, to work together, to work efficiently. And I think the whole team as a general now, we're able to work as a team and not just a whole bunch of mechanics who don't know what they're doing.
Tia?
Yeah, I think it's just like to always stay positive, and even if things like do get like a little messy, sometimes you just have to start over and start from scratch. It's like just easier to do it the right way than just to get mad and just be mad.
Tia is the queen of positive thinking for 2 years now. She just absolutely
somebody
wonderful
has
to
to
have her aboard.
Well, those are good lessons and good things to remember. And yeah, for
And make sure you're building it
Or
right.
at the very least,
Don't
make
put
a
the wheels
cardboard
on
cutout.
Make a cardboard cutout.
Don't.
Make a card. Before you cut my plywood, make a cardboard cutout to see if it works. Don't waste my time.
And then when you actually put it together, make sure you do it right. Don't put the wheels on.
planning. You learned a lot about planning, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, definitely. Measure twice before you cut. I mean,
Okay. Is there anything else you guys want me to know about your program?
Yes, Tia.
You don't really have to know anything about programming. You can just come in not knowing anything, and you'll learn as you keep coming.
Mr. J is like a good coach. He tells you what to do.
I personally think Mr. J is one of the best. Honestly, I feel like if the club was run by any other staff member, any other teacher, I
It
don't
would
think we'd
not.
be where we are right now.
You guys are making me cry.
totally agree.
Like, I came because Mr. J was the coach. And because one of my friends was in robotics before, because I had him as a teacher. And they're like, oh, he kept saying, come to robotics. We need more people in robotics. So I got dragged, and I ended up liking it.
Caesar, Angel,
Anything you guys want to
anything
add?
you guys just walked in from robotics. Oh, and here's
And
Crystal.
the lab.
Sorry,
it
we're
never
just having
stops.
people come in from a separate club.
They're the chess club. Crystal, anything that you learned that you want to share with this lady who's going to do a fine piece on us for the Illinois State Board of Education?
Well, the main thing that I learned was leadership actually, because it's nice when you get to just leadership. Well, not even that. It's just the whole overall experience. I learned so many new things thinking with my hands, and I never know this sort of stuff before. Like how to use a screwdriver, or how do you. I can't talk right now that well, but
That's good. You articulated it well.
Matt, on the email with the phone number, so you have his email address and mine, so you can just,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
And Matt, is this your phone number here?
It's one of my phone numbers. I can text you my cell phone.
Okay, and
Email.
I think Tammy copied me on one of the emails, so if I feel like I'm missing some details, I'll track you down on that.
Okay, that'd be
But I
fine.
think I've got a, for the students in the room, is there anything else you guys want to add, or any other stories, or anything else you think people should know?
Jacob, what is that?
I'm Batman.
His nickname's Batman.
You don't want to. You
My
don't want to
Batman.
know my nickname here.
Oh, not mine either.
Anything else you guys want to really add about?
My nickname's
experiences?
Maliko.
Well, you see, just the whole experience of robotics, like you can come in here knowing absolutely nothing.
And actually learn something.
You can come in here knowing absolutely nothing. I was exactly like that. Now I'm learning how to program. I'm learning how to build stuff. I'm learning how to use my hands. It's just so many different opportunities and so many different skills, I guess, just to learn here. And it's fun while doing it. You actually don't feel like you're being forced in, but you're doing it by your own will and you're enjoying it too.
It's
And
like
who is this speaking?
That's Christo.
it's like having a job and not liking it.
Malik says this is like having a job and you don't like it.
Yeah, but this job is
the
like
opposite.
you love it.
Stops it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Angel?
Right. So I remember when we went to a competition on Saturday, like I was like, huh, when Max pointed out that the other teams, like they kind of had similar designs to our hook in the past competition. And, you know, at first I wasn't like too, excited about them, but then I was like, hey, we like helped other people and
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like because of
And,
us,
like-
we've inspired other
Yeah.
A lot
teams.
of-
yeah, and we actually like set some sort of trend and made an impact on other teams.
Yeah, because
so-
I remember first competition, they were like, how'd you get the hook to work like that?
Is we have to hook onto a wall as part of one of our tasks, and their build is kind of being copied by other teams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's just us as individuals that are learning to work as a team. I feel like other teams, including our team in general, also we learn to work off of each other. We learn to work together as not only a team but as a group. How everybody cohesively we all work together.
And that's Max.
Yeah, next competition,
Okay.
everyone's gonna have a soup can on their.
Everyone's gonna have a soup can. I like that. Soup for all.
Soup for everyone.
There you go.
It's just a
Well,
bunch of
thank
different
you guys very
brands.
much. I don't want to take
Different
up any more of your
brands.
time, but I can't tell you how much I've appreciated it, and I'm sitting here at my computer grinning because I'm loving all the stories I'm hearing, and I love that you guys are having so much fun. I will to the instructors and project directors. I have a draft in the works for this, and I think looking at sometime towards the end of January, I will be routing it to both ISB, and then also I will send you guys, Tammy, I'll probably send it to you and let you route it.
Okay.
Basically a story that you guys can review and make sure is accurate, that it reflects what we talked about, and if there's anything you want to add at that point, you can. So you will get a chance to see the story.
Okay, can we add a picture to it? A picture
Yes,
of the group?
I would love to include pictures. We do need copies of signed photo releases, or if it's on your registration form, that works. You
Okay.
can send me copies of your registration forms, because I know that's how a lot of programs do their photo releases.
Okay, all right, we'll do that. Thank you. And
Okay.
when do you need the picture by?
Let's see. I start working by the beginning of February.
Okay, all right. We'll try to do it next week.
Okay.
Angel wants to add
Thank you so much for
something.
your time. Go ahead.
Angel, you want to add something you said?
Would it be possible to have a poll to ask people what label we should put on the soup can?
We're gonna,
If you guys could put that poll on your website, I
yeah,
can link to it.
that's
That would be
You can do
great.
that.
So that way we know what the people want on the soup can.
Put that on the.
So sounds
Do
good?
that on YouTube.
Yeah, if you guys can set the poll up, I will share it out.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, congratulations, you guys, both on your hard work and your successes, and from learning from your failures. All very important lessons. And yeah, good luck. I hope you
All right.
do great for the rest of the semester.
It's fun.
Thank you.
Sounds like it.
Thanks.
Have a good one, guys.
All right,
Good
definitely,
night.
you too.
All right, good night.